It is, it's hard to imagine how you can argue with a straight face that this is what we should be doing in this moment or ever. You see, because this is the same time as you heard an emotional Representative Cohen. Now, Representative Cohen is a white man, but in Memphis, Tennessee, the district that he represents, it is a majority black district, and black folk decided that he should be in Congress and be their voice. When you look at what they are proposing to do in Georgia, where it's my understanding that they plan to go after Lucy McBath's seat yet again, when you look at the type of—
Right out of the gate, this hearing is escalating fast. The speaker isn't just criticizing policy. She's accusing lawmakers of intentionally redrawing districts to weaken minority representation. Whether you agree or disagree, that's one of the most explosive accusations you can make in a congressional hearing. Let me know in the comments. Do you think redistricting is about fair representation or political power?
seat that Hank Johnson currently sits in, it is also a VRA district. When you look at the state that they started in, Texas, they decided to go after majority minority districts to the extent that two black incumbents down in Houston just went head to head for a seat in which only one would survive. We know that there are currently debates taking place because Debbie Wasserman Schultz is now wanting to run in one of the few VRA districts that is left so that black people can have representation. You see, the reason that y'all want to do this right now isn't because you're afraid that we are after a power grab. It's because you want to lock in this racist agenda for decades to come. Because that's exactly who this court is. This court is racist, this court is immoral, and this court lacks any semblance of ethics. The fact that this court just on last night decided that they want to go after yet another Alabama seat, and then they decided to throw out the votes of the voters in Louisiana because they decided that they wanted to go after yet another black seat in Louisiana. The fact that Virginia decided to stand up and fight back, and it was this same Supreme Court that decided, forget the will of the people and the fact that they voted, we're going to throw that out. This isn't what democracy is supposed to be. So let me be clear about a couple of things. Number one, the court absolutely needs to be expanded.
Here's where the debate shifts from politics to the Supreme Court itself. Court expansion, ethics rules, and term limits have become some of the most controversial legal topics in America. Supporters argue reforms are overdue. Opponents say it's a dangerous attempt to reshape the judiciary. This isn't just a policy argument. It's a fight over how much power the court should have.
Because it's been expanded in the past. And yes, it makes sense. If we have 13 circuit courts, then we should have 13 judges. But let's just pretend that the size of America was the same. Let's pretend that the complexity of the cases was the same as it was when we originally got the 9. Let's pretend all those things. I would still argue that it is time to not only expand the court, to introduce some form of ethics and to put term limits on, because you have bad actors like Mitch McConnell. This court was packed by the Republicans, and that is the reason you don't want it unpacked. You see, as a trained attorney, I don't understand how the very same court could say that in the state of Texas, 4 days before we were to have the end of filing, it is too close to the end of filing, and so therefore we've got to go ahead and go forward with these intentionally discriminatory maps. And these are the words and the characterization of a Trump-appointed justice. It's got to be bad when a Trump-appointed justice decides that something is racist and is willing to call a thing and put it into writing, but they did that. They didn't just say it. They laid it out in an opinion that was more than 100 pages long. But this very same court will decide that after votes have been cast to throw those votes out.
Notice how the tone just changed. We're no longer talking about election maps. Now we're talking about presidential immunity and the role of the Supreme Court in defining executive power. These are the kinds of decisions that can influence American law for generations. The question is, where should the line be between protecting a president and holding one accountable?
The reason that we need to do something about this court is because this court has decided that it will bend to the will of a wannabe king. We have never in the history of this country needed a court to say that absolute immunity should be given to a president because historically we don't actually keep criminals in the presidency. But we know that even after he had been found guilty by a jury of his peers, y'all went out and y'all wanted to say, yes, this is our guy. The same way that right now in the state of Texas for the Texas Senate race, I'm sure all of y'all will line up behind that criminal as well. So I don't want to hear about law and order. I don't want to hear about this is the right thing to do. Just be honest about what it is, because y'all are basically saying that we're stupid. You're playing in our faces. We know that this is about locking in this agenda because you will never do right by the people. The reason that we have elections is because the people are supposed to decide whether or not your policies are actually working for them. But because you have killed our economy, because we are sitting in the midst of an unconstitutional, unlawful war, because we have a president that is lining his pockets and the pockets of his friends and his families in violation of the Emoluments Clause and so many other laws. Y'all want to lock in absolute power by any means necessary. And the last thing that I'll say is I gotta respect your gangster, because that's exactly how y'all are acting, like real gangsters. Y'all are mobbing out. And that's one reason that the Democrats are struggling right now, because they have always tried to play by the rules. I am here to say that I applaud the people of Virginia. I am here to say that I applaud the people of California. I am here to say that we need to meet fire with fire and fight.
That was a fiery closing statement. Accusations of corruption, abuse of power, and political gamesmanship all packed into a single speech. But remember, hearings like this often feature strong rhetoric from both sides. The real battle starts when the opposing side gets its turn to respond.
Y'all, tooth and nail, so that we can do right by the people.
The gentlelady has expired.
I will yield.
Gentlelady yields back. I would just remind the gentlelady that we didn't introduce the bill to take the court to 13. The Democrats did. I think Mr. Nadler was the chief sponsor just a couple Congresses back. We didn't leak the Dobbs opinion. I think. Well, I don't know if we can blame it on Democrats, but when we didn't leak the Dobbs opinion. We didn't threaten the court. Like, this now famous quote from the
Mr. Chairman, whose
Democrat.
time are you on?
My time.
Point of order?
My time.
Oh, I didn't know that you didn't have your, okay.
Yeah, I haven't taken my time. And I gave you like 6 minutes, so it's my time. But here's what Senator Schumer said. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you've released the whirlwind and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these decisions. So we didn't threaten the court. We didn't introduce the bill to take it to 13.
And here comes the counterattack. Instead of directly addressing the accusations, the chairman is flipping the conversation back onto Democrats, arguing that they were the ones who proposed expanding the court. This is a classic political strategy. Don't defend, redirect. The debate is no longer about the court's decisions. It's about who bears responsibility for the current climate.
People say, why are we doing this? We don't have the votes. We don't know. We don't know. Maybe you guys will see the light and do the right thing and keep it at 9 when it comes for a vote. We'll see. You'll get a chance to do that, I think. Pretty sure it's going to pass and be on the House floor. And if you guys suddenly find the good Lord and do the right thing, okay, God bless you. That's how it works. But, you said all kinds of things about Republicans. All I'm saying is you introduced the bill to go to 13. The top Democrat in the United States Senate threatened the Supreme Court. The Dobbs opinion was leaked. You've said all kinds of things about Supreme Court justices like Justice Thomas, Justice Alito. You had a hearing where you brought in a pastor for goodness sake, who just lied to the committee 3 years ago. So, okay, you obviously say what you want, but I think it's important that we get the facts here. With that, I would yield back.
Would the gentleman yield?
I will yield to the gentleman from Arizona. Sure.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So, when I hear all the consternation on the other side, and we've gone through the history and how back in a more rational day, Democrats rejected absolutely expansion of the court. And that's what we're talking. We're not talking about packing the court. We're talking about preventing an expansion of the court. See, and those are really two different things, because the Democrats are saying that the court is packed now. Well, you got 9, so why would you be opposed to just setting it 9 if you can pack it at 9? Not only that, Supreme Court justices come and they go.
At this point, both sides have laid out completely different visions of the Supreme Court. One side sees a court that has become too powerful and politically influenced. The other sees a court under attack by people unhappy with its rulings. And that's the real question at the heart of this hearing. Are we protecting judicial independence or resisting necessary reform? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear where you stand.
It is not locked in. I remember thinking as I was going in law school, and I was reading all these Warren Court decisions, and I thought, wow, that's a long time. That court was there for a long time. Sure felt like it anyway. I love Justice Douglas saying, I reach my decision and then see if I can find any support for it. I loved it. That was great. That was a paraphrase. I'm not quoting him directly, but that was one thing he said one time. But here's the deal.